Hello, good morning once again. Welcome back to the physics class again. Now we are going to discuss about the stress and strain. Relation between stress and strain. We are not discussing about the stress and strain that we undergo physiologically. That stress, tension, that is totally different. We are discussing about the stress and strain that the solids undergo under the external force. The solids also experience the strain as a result of stress. Stress and strain are relative, right? What is the meaning of stress? Let us first understand. For example, suppose you have taken a wire. One end of the wire is connected. One end of the wire is connected to the rigid support. Suppose this is a thick wire, right? And this is connected with certain load. It is attached with certain, with the help of a hook, it is attached with some say about 200 gram load. Before attaching the load, the length of the wire is original length, that is L. After attaching the load, we may notice or may not notice the extension in the wire. Suppose it is a solid, strong wire like copper wire or steel wire, strong wire. When we attach some 200 gram or 300 gram load, we may not notice the change in its length. But when it is observed with the help of a microscope or with the help of a telescope here, observable with the help of a telescope, slight change in length takes place. Slight elongation takes place. When the load is taken out, when the load is removed, again the wire regains its shape. This is called elasticity of the metal, right? So, as we studied elastic behavior of the solids in the previous session, when an external load or external force is applied, the distance between the atoms, interatomic distance or intermolecular distance is slightly changed. Slightly the distance between them is increased due to this external load. But when the external load is removed, these molecules or atoms, they shift themselves back to the original position, and thus they regain their original size or original shape because of strong intermolecular or strong interatomic attractive forces. This is what we discussed in the previous session. Now, when the external load is applied in this direction, there is internal restoring force that is developed. This is restoring force. If the same wire, wires are always cylindrical in shape. If I just show it a magnified view of this wire, suppose this is the original length of the wire. If the external load is applied, this is the external force or external load. Then if the other end is fixed, then you will find internal restoring force that is produced. Internal restoring force. This internal restoring force is produced because of the external force or external load that is applied. When there is no external load, then the metallic wire is not having any restoring force inside. So, restoring force is developed as a result of external force. Whatever the amount of external force is applied, same amount of internal restoring force is developed within the molecules or within the atoms of this solid in the exact opposite direction. So magnitude of this restoring force is exactly equal to magnitude of external applied force. So what is the tendency of this internal force? Tendency of restoring force? The tendency of restoring force is to regain the original size or shape. The tendency of this restoring force is to bring back the molecules or atoms back to their original positions. So that's how we define what is restoring force. Restoring force is the force which has a tendency to regain the original size or shape of the body when the external force is applied on the body. This is called as restoring force. Then this restoring force that is applied per unit area, here, this is the cross-sectional area. So the force is applied perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. If it is capable of elongating on both sides, then force can be shown on both the directions. If the force is applied on both the directions, it can elongate in both the directions. Then this amount of force that is applied, normal force applied per unit area, is called as stress. So now we define what is stress. Stress is defined as the restoring force per unit area. Per unit area perpendicular to the force, or normal restoring force per unit area, or restoring force per unit area, restoring force per perpendicular area perpendicular to the force is called stress. Or this can be measured, magnitude of stress is measured as applied force per unit area. Applied force per unit area, normal weight. Here, the force is applied perpendicular to the area, therefore it is called as normal force per unit area, or restoring force or normal restoring force per unit area is called as stress. So stress is having the units as force per unit area, Newton per meter square. Force per unit area, I can just write it as stress as force per unit area. So it is having the same SI unit as that of pressure. Pressure is also measured as force per unit area. Force per unit area. So stress and pressure are having the same SI units. So the normal force applied per unit area is called as stress. This stress will lead to change in its length. So there will be slight change in its length. Suppose this end is fixed here, and here you will find extension. This extension may be noticed or may not be noticed. It will be very minute, very slight extension. So this extension will be denoted by delta L. So that is what we call as change in length. This change in length per unit length is called as strain. Strain is defined as change in length per unit length. So this strain is calculated as change in length delta L divided by original length L. So here it is a change in length denoted as small change delta L and original length is L. So fractional change in length is called as strain. So the stress is directly proportional to strain. The stress is directly proportional to strain. This is what we call as the Hooke's law. It is formulated by Robert Hooke in the 17th century after conducting several experiments on the springs as well as on several solids, several metals, and he comes to the empirical law. He formulates an empirical law that the stress that is developed here in the metal is directly proportional to strain. So stress is nothing but internal restoring force that is developed per unit area. So this internal restoring force that is developed per unit area is having a tendency to regain its shape. So this stress is restoring force per unit area normal to the area. It is called as stress. So stress and strain, they are directly proportional. So this is what we call as Hooke's law. Now let us discuss about the types of stress and types of strain a solid can undergo. Consider there is a metallic wire, as we discussed earlier, of length L. When this is applied with a normal force perpendicular to the area by applying an external load, an extension can take place downward as well as upward if it is stretched. If the normal force is applied on both the sides, right, then if F is the normal force that is applied perpendicular to the area of cross section, then that restoring force that is produced per unit area inside the wire or inside the linear metal is called as tensile stress, or it is also called as longitudinal stress. Tensile stress or longitudinal stress, wherein the force is acting perpendicular to the area and the elongation takes place along the length. So that change in length per unit length is called as tensile strain. So tensile stress and tensile strain are corresponding. So we will define what is tensile stress. The longitudinal stress is also called as longitudinal stress. So it is defined as the restoring force produced along the length per unit area, per unit normal area. So that is how we define it as longitudinal stress, restoring force per unit area along the length. Tensile stress. So this is measured in Newton per meter square, as I told you. So there is a corresponding change in length. See here, this change in length we can take it as delta L. So change in length per unit length is called as longitudinal strain. And the longitudinal strain takes place due to elongation or compression. So which takes place along the length, therefore it is called as tensile stress or longitudinal corresponding longitudinal strain. This is also called as tensile strain. So this is defined as change in length per unit length. Change in length per unit length. If the original length is L, after applying the external force, if it becomes delta L plus delta L, see total length now becomes L plus delta L. So this change in length per unit length is called as longitudinal strain. The longitudinal strain doesn't have any unit because delta L is also measured in units of length. Length is also having units of meter or centimeter. So units of length cancel each other. So strain is a dimensionless quantity. Dimensionless quantity. What about the dimensions of the stress? Dimensions of stress you can write. Dimensions of force M L T raised to minus 2 divided by dimension of area. So M L T raised to minus 2 divided by dimension of area. So if you simplify this, we get ML raised to minus 1. ML raised to minus 1 T raised to minus 2. This becomes the dimension of stress. Dimension of stress. So this is one type of stress which leads to change in length, which leads to elongation or which leads to compression when the force is applied in the opposite direction perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Now, in the second case, if the force is applied tangential to the area, then it is called as another type of stress. It is called as tangential or shear stress. It is called as shear stress or tangential stress. Second one, shear stress, or it is also called as tangential stress. You have got heavy books like a dictionary, right, or any encyclopedia or your reference books. When you slightly apply the tangential force, you see there is going to be change in its shape of the book. That change in the shape takes place tangential to the surface, keeping the bottom of the book fixed. Bottom of the book fixed to the surface. If the force is applied tangentially, then there is a deformation of the book tangentially, right? So the restoring force that is produced tangentially in the opposite direction of the applied force per unit area is called as shear stress. Shear means it is related to change of shape. Change of shape. Here the change of shape is going to take place when tangential force is applied. So it is measured as tangential force applied per unit area. So if this is the original shape of a cylinder, let us suppose. This is the original shape of a cylinder whose length is L. Whose length is L. Now, if a tangential force is applied in this direction, force which is applied tangentially, keeping the bottom fixed, this surface fixed, so that the cylinder doesn't undergo displacement. If this bottom is fixed and if the tangential force is applied, then next what happens is this will undergo kind of change in shape. Change in shape as shown here. keeping the bottom intact. The bottom of the surface is being kept intact. Then as a result, you see, this is the upper surface is getting displaced through a small displacement, let us say delta x, due to applied force. But there is a restoring force developed within the solid, tangentially in the opposite direction. That restoring tangential force developed per unit area is called as tangential stress or shear stress. So we can define now shear stress as the tangential restoring force developed per unit area. Per unit area. Area is area of this cross section. Per unit area is called shear stress. And this shear stress is also having the same tangential applied force. It is measured as tangential applied force. Its magnitude is equal to tangential applied force per unit area, per unit cross sectional area. Okay, this is also having the same force per unit area, that is Newton per meter square, same dimension. Only thing is the change of dimension is different here, change of shape is different. Earlier it was elongation, here there is change of shape. But after the removal of external force, it should be regaining its shape. So we are discussing all these stresses and strains within their limits, not permanent deformations, within their limits. When, for example, desk, when you will be beating the desk several times tangentially, even after beating the desk tangentially, the desk undergoes shift and again regains its shape, again regains its original shape. So that is called as shear stress. And corresponding change in shape per unit length is called as shear strain. It is called as shear strain. Shear strain is measured in terms of this angle theta. The original length is L, and this displacement here is delta x. So this change in displacement, that is change in position, that is delta x, by this L gives us shear strain. So which I will be going to write here, shear strain. Now the corresponding change in shape is measured as shearing strain. The ratio of relative displacement between the faces of a cylinder, delta x, to the length of the cylinder. So this is called as shearing strain, delta x by L. So from the diagram, if you look at this, from this right angle triangle, this is also equal to tan theta. So for small angle, for small displacement, tan theta is also equal to almost equal to theta. For small angle, tan theta can be taken as theta. So shear strain is also taken as shearing angle. So shearing strain is also measured as delta x by L, which is also equal to theta, which is also equal to this theta, delta x by L. Shear angle, we can remember it as shear angle, which leads to change in shape. The third one is hydraulic stress. Hydraulic stress. Suppose you have taken a solid in a fluid is taken in a fluid, then this solid is under normal force. It is under normal pressure. The force acts equally on all the sides. This is called as hydraulic pressure. As a result of this normal force, you are going to learn in the next topic, it's going to experience the external hydraulic pressure. So the hydraulic pressure is measured as force per unit area, normal force per unit area. On all the sides, it is experiencing perpendicular force, and this perpendicular force per unit area is measured as hydraulic stress. As a result of this, there is going to be change in volume. There is going to be decrease in volume, slight decrease in the volume, right? When you take out this solid out of this fluid, again this solid regains its original volume. So that change in volume per unit volume is measured as hydraulic strain. And how about hydraulic stress? Hydraulic stress is measured as the hydraulic pressure. That is the restoring force per unit area normal to the area at all the places is called as hydraulic stress, which is going to change the entire bulk shape of the body. So it is called as hydraulic stress. So hydraulic stress is measured as the magnitude equal to hydraulic pressure. Hydraulic internal restoring force per unit area, this is also called as hydraulic stress. Internal restoring force per unit area is called as hydraulic stress, which is also equal to magnitude of this is also equal to hydraulic pressure. Which we know that normal force per unit area, force acting normal to the surface per unit area is called as hydraulic pressure. But the stress is developed internally, which tends to oppose this. The internal restoring force which tends to oppose this external hydraulic pressure, this is called as hydraulic stress, right? If original volume is V, now due to the external hydraulic pressure, if it is reduced to small v minus delta V, then change in volume is delta V. So that corresponding strain is called as hydraulic strain, or we can call it as volume strain. Volume strain. Volume strain is defined as change in volume per unit volume. When there is a decrease in volume, it is going to be minus delta V by V. When there is increase in volume, it is going to be plus delta V by V. So that is what we call it as hydraulic strain. So hydraulic stress and hydraulic strain are related to the bulk entire change in the volume of the body. Whereas in this case, it is going to be change in shape. Change in shape when the tangential force is applied. In the first case, it is tensile stress, where there is a elongation along the length, elongation or compression when the force is applied along the length perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. In this way, we study different types of stress based on the types of change of dimensions of a solid take place. So, tensile stress, corresponding tensile strain, or longitudinal stress, longitudinal strain. Second one, tangential stress, tangential strain. The third one is hydraulic stress and hydraulic strain. Next, we are going to learn Hooke's law. How is that strains and strain? How is that stress and strain are related? As I told you, the stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. Within the elastic limit. This is called as Hooke's law. Okay, we are going to learn this Hooke's law, and we apply this stress, how it is related to strain, how is that stress is directly proportional to strain in the next video. This takes place within the elasticity or within the elastic limit of the solids. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.